We've been exploring the past of this now 50-year-old race machine as we rebuild it. But if you go back to that first episode, you'll see I owe you a story and an explanation emanating from this hub here. It's a story with a twist. I wasn't there when this happened, but I've seen this type of thing before. And following up with the owner, I was pretty much right. A wheel needed to be rebuilt. Then all the spokes were cut, but before the freewheel was pulled. I've seen that before, and I call it rebuild rage. You're angry. You want to do something, to take action, to cut something. But to get spokes in the right flange so we can build the wheel, that freewheel's got to come off. How to do it? This is what the owner tried. New spokes were selected. These new spokes were laced up, but only into the left flange. The spokes were snugged up in order to turn the hub against the freewheel tool. However, remember the freewheel is tight against these right side threads. In this situation, all that turning stress was transmitted through the small aluminum tube, which just split apart in the attempt. And here's the twist to the story. It didn't have to be that way. We can get to those spoke holes in that high flange hub by getting rid of the sprockets and leaving the freewheel body. How? We can use two opposing chain whips. So we're going to install one to hold the larger sprockets. These first sprockets here are screwed on. You can take a second tool. We grab that first one, break it free. It can come off. All of these two unscrew, and there. Now we can get to it. Don't let rebuild rage get to you. Walk away. Do something else, something relaxing. And what can be more relaxing than wrapping the handlebars? Except not these. Check out that right hook. This is the original bar that came with the bike, badly bent. To keep this bike period correct, I really should go the cloth tape, or maybe the Bonotto cellophane style tape, but I only have one roll and one roll. Can't do that, so we're not doing that. We chose the leather tape. We chose the leather tape not because it's easy, but because it's hard. Because the series is about trying new things, different things, and learning. And that's what I'm going to try and do here. Got some ideas I wanted to try. They may not work well, but that's what we're going to do. First up, we're going to soak these things in some water. Leather tape does come with some paper backing. I'm going to go ahead and take that off. It's going to get soaked, it's going to ruin the paper. Soaking it also is going to ruin this adhesive. That's off. Why do this? Well, I will tell you tomorrow. Good night. Good morning. Let's check out that tape. Looks plenty wet. It's soaked. Literally. Now it's flexible. That's what I like about the soaking. A little drippy, so let's wipe it off. Soaking it gives us some flexibility, getting around those curves nicer. Put that there. And it's going to dry. And as it dries, it tends to shrink. And that's going to help it hold tight to the handlebar. So let's get this started. Let's go ahead and cut the trim piece from the end, put it right up at our lever so it's ready when we need it. So I'm going to roll that back. I need it right about there, kind of pinch that. That doesn't match the pattern. I don't want to cut into this because I don't know if I'll have enough tape. So this will just have to do. I roll that back. And I can do a little adjustment when we get there. Okay. Now, we are not going to do the traditional stuff the excess into the end. It tends to wrinkle. It looks ugly with the fat tapes. So we're going to try a flush cut, a little bit different. So to do that, we're first going to establish the angle of the thread, or think of it almost like a thread pitch, if you will. On the right side, I like a right-hand thread. So I'm going to, my pattern, I'm going to try and cover up to the 4th hole. Kind of handy, there's little holes here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 4 is just showing, there we go. I'm establishing the angle that I want. That looks pretty good there. However, I need to come here and mark it at the end. All this excess is not going to go inside. It's going to get cut. So I hold that same angle. I'm going to go right to the end of the bar. And just like that, I'm up marking the tape. Now we are ready to cut. I have tried cutting this in place with a knife. It just has not worked well. It made a mess. I'll spare you that. I prefer to take it off. I think we can make a better cut over on the bench. Here's our cut line right here. If you want to cut along there, I'm going to use a straight edge. Keep me straight. Square that up to that thread angle. Carefully use a knife, watching anything we don't want to cut. So come right along here. That's pretty good. There we are. It's hard to get that to lay straight, so we're gonna end up snipping. We're gonna go ahead and just snip off that little bit. Now let's put that plug in. These plugs are made a bit small. We're assuming there's tape all around them. Very sloppy fit in there. This one is gonna need some shim stock. It's just not gonna expand to tighten up in there. So we've got our scrap piece. Sure enough, we're gonna cut a little piece off here, like so. And I'm gonna cut this in half. Again. This came through some trial and error. If you shim it all on one side, it tends to shove it up or down all the way. To keep it centered, I'm actually shimming both sides a little bit. There you go. That's gonna go in. That's gonna keep me fairly centered. There we go. Let's get that all the way in. So, tighten that up. That should do it. That's our stop right there. Our angle is set. We're ready to go. Check it out. A little bit of blank tape. I didn't really mean for that to happen, but we're going to start that tucked around so nobody will see it. So don't tell. So I'm going to butt this right up against the plug. I want that to be square. There we go. Nice and square to the end. If there's any improprieties in the tape, keep them underneath. Nobody looks under. Pull with tension. There we go. 1, 2, 3, that 4th dot just showing. Keep that tension, and I like this flexible tape. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And some tension, and keep it coming. And the curves are tough. Oh, the curves tend to pucker a little bit. You can see it start to happen. Oh, right there. We're gonna cover it up. We're approaching our lever. Keep it around and hold it. Don't just let go of the tape ever. You keep a hand on it. Oh, this is the good part. Now we're getting to the lever. Got an ugly gap there. Let's see. I'm gonna come underneath the cover. Yo, pull. And then I'm gonna go to the inside straight to the top. Oh boy. Ugly. Ugly, right there. Come back down. There we go. Let's run that hood back. There. Keep it going. We're not going to stop here. We're going to continue. Continue the same pitch past where you want to end. I'm going to go all the way to the stem. Clamp it. No, it's not going to end here. We're going to end it back here, but we're not done yet. Now, to the other side. Let's cut that piece for the lever and continue on here. Second verse, same as the first, but the other pitch direction. Now to install this. Behind, so again, it's ready for us. Looks good. Does not look good. Check it. I better correct that now rather than later. Back up. Tight. Now it's laying down. There. Now, where was I? Continue with this one. Well, okay. I just hope this person's not in a hurry to get to the coffee shop, because this has got to dry all night. So, to you, Blue Beastie, good night. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Let's get this thing finished. Okay. First thing we need to check is our tape dry to the touch, not cool, not moist. Good to go. We are ready to continue, and we're going to start cutting. We got too much tape here. The Chinelli bars, certain brands, Chinelli's one of them, they have this center sleeve, very distinct ending. We're going to try and cut our tape right at that sleeve. That can be a little tricky. We can't really see it direct. We can feel it. It's right there. Makes that little ridge all the way around. That's where I want it to trim. That keeps our pitch. If I can trim there, I'll be really happy. Heavy duty fishing line, we're going to use this for our cut. So we're laying it down. Square is the first job. This is a pretty thick line. It's about 50 pound. Back and forth. What you're establishing really is the angle. It actually starts to cut through it. I'm pressing, I'm making the line. If I keep going, I feel resistance. Leather is flying up. Smoke is flying up. It does break. On, keep that clamp in place. And there it is. That is my line right there that I'm going to try and cut. I'm going to do a little different system. We're not going to use, I don't want to be using this tape. Don't want to be using this. This is pretty common. It does a nice job. That's good, but we're trying to make this one special. Right through my little fishing line cut. Extend it. Right there. Put it back where you had it. Follow that same pattern. We come back around. So a couple things. You're going to finish your cut, and this tail, it comes all the way up to the top. Remember what we do? End at the bottom. Okay, that's better. I like that. Underneath, we're good. And this little, look at that. Let's get rid of you. Okay, that's better. We're not going to come up with the tape. We have a different way. I do need to hold it. So just a little bit of tape here. This is strapping tape, but it's thin. That's the important thing. It's thin. So I'm going to come right underneath and use that to hold. Yep. We're going to come across this with the cover, and what we're going to try and use is something that we're going to borrow from our fisherman pals, the fisher people that build their fly rods. They do a wrap with thread to hold the guides. We're going to go ahead and try that here. What I've got here is some thread. It can be fly line backing. This is a polyester thread. Pretty thick, not too thick. How much of this to use? That's kind of the tricky part. Took some trial and error. We could do the math thing. Diameter times pi, how many wraps, blah, blah, blah. For me, it's about 80 inches. So to get that, I need a wingspan. There we go. A little bit more, maybe a wee bit more. That's going to be enough for me. A little more than you need, right? Now, we're going to cut our black polyester, and we are ready to begin on the inside, and we're going to come out with the wrap. So we're going to tie a loop here. It's going to be a simple knot at the end here, and you know what? Why not? A fisherman's knot. All right, round and round, right? The bunny here, it's going through the hole. The bunny comes out. That poor bunny, catching many fish. I'm going to cinch it up. See, we're right down in that groove. We actually made a little groove between the thickness in the tape and that bar there. The knot, of course, on the bottom. Yes, cinch that tight. And that tail, that bunny's tail, is a little bit long. We don't want that sticking way out there. There. Very nice. And to make sure that stays in place, I'm going to put a little tape here. There we go. Very nice. Over the top, down, and actually it's several wraps here. It's going to build up some diameter until I'm equal to my tape. It's in the same place. There we go. I can feel it. Now I'm going to start coming out. And I butt that right up against the next wrap and pull tight. Make sure that's tight. I look around. On the back side I have a gap. Close it up. Close the gap. Keep the wheel as we coming, and you can see it's starting to build up. So we're looking for about 19 millimeters or so. Your typical tape, 3/4 of an inch. That's where we got that. Okay. Now, we made us a little puller, a little snare, if you will. This is lighter 8-pound line to pass underneath. So this is going to lay right on the bottom, and we're going to loop around it once. That's going to keep it in place. We want that hook out. There we are. It's just going to stay there. I'm going to go 4 or 5 more loops beyond, and in front, close it up. I lost the wheel right there, so you get on over. Thank you. My tail goes through right there. Keep the tension. Make sure it's tucked just where you want, because you're going to end up cutting. And here is the fun part. We pull our snare. It drags it through. All those extra wraps we had, there it is. Now we continue. There, it's all tucked underneath. We can come here and a little snip, snip. Tidy, nice and tidy. Okay, well that's one side. Now for the other. I think that's a pretty good look. Is it going to stay? That's the question. We're going to borrow another trick from the Fisher people. So a little shellac here, stirred, not shaken. We're going to use basically as an adhesive. So what this is going to do is keep it together. See how that wicks in nicely? Ah, very sweet. We want to overdo it. We don't want to be gloppy. So nice little brush strokes. Work it all the way around. Don't worry, it doesn't take all night. This will be dry in time for this afternoon's coffee ride. So they'll be able to make the coffee ride. Well, maybe not. But I think we're good there. That's a wrap. When you get mechanical rage, something doesn't go right, something breaks, something didn't work out, what is it you do to calm down? What type of things? You take a break, do something else. What sort of rage antidotes do you have? Tell us in the comments below.